Congratulations, comment section. You were right. I had to take the 6-year-old Tesla in for service. So how did that go? And more importantly, how much did it cost? Hey guys, Brady here, and about 5 months ago, I bought this 6-year-old 2018 Tesla Model 3 long range directly from Tesla, used, and I got a really good deal on it. I got it for $24,900, which means, yes, I will be eligible for the used EV tax credit, which should be around up to $4,000, I think. But anywho, a lot of you in the comments had questions about service, maintenance, and how this whole experience is going. Obviously, if you're here, there have been a couple minor hiccups, but other than that, so far it's been pretty great. So let's talk about specifically what was wrong with the Model 3, what happened. A couple months ago, when I was walking out to my car from a rainy day to get a backpack out of my trunk, I noticed a small puddle on the mats I had in the rear, and I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. I figured just based on the way the trunk is shaped, here, I'll actually go ahead and show you. So yeah, one day I noticed when I came back here to get my backpack out when I was at a coffee shop, when I opened the trunk, there was a giant puddle of water there. And I figured based on the way that this was designed, that some had just kind of dripped off of the seal, or maybe even dripped from down here and kind of come down onto it. Nothing earth-shattering, but I went ahead and called Tesla. I put in a service request from the Tesla app. Also, one other minor thing I had going on, the door strap, the mechanism that basically controls how the door opens, was creaking on my Model 3, which is a pretty common issue for this year 3. But it's also a pretty simple fix for the most part. So normally with Tesla service, they send out a mobile service tech to your house and they fix everything on the spot. You don't have to go in usually. So that usually knocks out a lot of birds with, one stone. It's pretty simple to get done. I had to go ahead and go in. So I booked my appointment with Tesla Alpharetta, which is in the north end here in the Atlanta metro area. Rolled up to my appointment and I showed him the creaky door strap and the fact that I basically had a small man-made lake in my trunk. So from there, he let me know that it wasn't gonna be a same-day fix. It was probably gonna be a bit more of a process. And so he went ahead and got me in a loaner right away. I don't know if you've ever dealt with service extensively for multiple days with a car, but I have with both Ford and Honda, and I've usually worked with some pretty nice folks, but usually it's either been like at best a shuttle back to your house, and most times it's kind of a situation where they're like, cool, we have your car, and now just go ahead and go home, somehow. So the fact that they gave me a loaner, like right off the bat at no cost, was a pretty big shock to me. There weren't any strings attached to it. It was free as long as the repair took. And in my case, they gave me a Model Y red with free unlimited supercharging, which is definitely kind of a cherry on top while you're driving it around. So you're driving it around for free. Also, it has full self-driving. So basically, I have a bit of a theory. Tesla knows kind of what they're doing with this. If your older car's in for repair, they're probably going to give you a pretty nice newer Tesla. We've got some incentives running here. That's kind of how Tesla operates with their sales for the most part too. They kind of just let the product speak for itself. And it definitely felt like that kind of strategy there from corporate, like just giving you a newer car to kind of let it speak for itself. But the car was great, it was nice. And I had this Model Y for as long as the repair took. There wasn't any kind of mileage limit on it. And also, just to give you an idea of how seamless this whole process was, I actually had 2 loaners throughout the course of this week-long repair. The first loaner I had for about a day. It was that first aforementioned Model Y with the black interior. And I had to return it because the driver's turn signal quit working. And of course, with it being Atlanta, it basically looks like I'm cutting people off with no turn signal. So not great. I had to call them about that, and they just said, cool, run it by when you get a chance. We'll give you a new one. Rolled up the next day after a shoot, and they gave me another Model Y. It looked the same for the most part, but this one had the premium all-white interior, and it was a year newer. And it had the acceleration boost. That was bad. Just a heads up, all Tesla loaners are software limited to a speed limit of 85 miles per hour. But with that being said, I had fun. Lots of safe legal fun. So after that, I go to pick up my car, and unfortunately, Alpharetta does not do glass replacements. So I had to book a follow-up appointment. Not a big deal, but about a week and a half later, I rolled up to the Duluth Service Center, which leads me to the next topic I want to talk about: what happens if they don't have any loaners in stock. In Duluth, that was the case. The recent round of layoffs hit a lot of the service centers for Tesla very hard, but because of that, the person who does the tags for their loaner vehicles was not there, and they didn't replace them yet. So long story short, no loaner this time, but that's okay. It was only like a same day / overnight repair, and they ended up giving me a $100 use it or lose it Uber credit voucher per day for every day that it took. It resets every night at midnight, so I was able to Uber around just fine. Next morning, got up, went and got coffee nearby, and Ubered back to Tesla, picked up my car. All was well, and at this point you're probably wondering what my repair bill was. So let me just go ahead and show you what they replaced exactly. It was this whole entire back window panel and this seal right here that runs along the entire window glass over the trunk. Oh, and this door does not creak anymore. $0. All of it was covered under warranty, which 6-year-old car, that's pretty impressive. So with all of that said and done, how was my experience with this, the first and only electric car I've ever owned, getting serviced from Tesla? Honestly, very surprising. Walking into a Tesla showroom, it's different. You don't feel preyed upon. You know, as a person in my 20s, when I was looking at buying this Model 3, I went to a couple different dealerships around the Atlanta metro area, and you know, it kind of feels like you're walking into shark-infested waters when you're a young person going to a used car dealership. You could tell they're really trying to like use manipulation tactics, psychological traits, things to sell you, and you know, the goal is the sale, not the customer. And a lot of times too, what you see with used car dealers, you'll have a salesperson who you're kind of interacting with, but you'll have the manager in the back kind of calling the shots on everything. And so they're back and forth. That's kind of the way things are now. I can't speak for every dealership. The Ford dealership I dealt with up here was pretty nice, but it's just a definite difference in company culture. I actually had one used car dealership that I was looking at a similar Model 3 spec to this one, and it had broken autopilot, the issue with the airbag, and they were trying to mark it up to disqualify me from the tax credit, by the way, which they lied to my face about. They were gonna mark it up $5,000, which would make it ineligible for that credit. They tried to charge me $1,000 for cleaning the paint. And honestly, it was so ridiculous, it got to the point where I literally pulled up this Tesla on my phone, showed it to the guy that I've been interacting with, got up and walked out of his dealership in front of the manager. It's just seriously, like, it's not consumer first. If you were to ask me about my opinion of franchise dealers, that would be a whole different conversation at this point, but overall, my experience with Tesla has been a much more consumer-centric, they take care of you first priority. I mean, the waiting rooms had cookies, snacks, coffee, like readily stocked in. I mean, I know most dealerships have like a coffee maker or waters, but usually they're not stocked. You could tell this place is clean, stocked. Also, all of this happening while Tesla's in the middle of their round of layoffs. You know, I had a chance to really talk with the service center employees while I was kind of hanging out around there, and they're just really nice people. And they genuinely, I didn't get a tactic of like them trying to sell me on anything. Not once did any of them say, hey, did you see the new Model 3 Highland? Like, none of them did that. So 3 takeaways. Number 1, be nicer to your service center employees. They're really just doing their best, especially when 10% of their workforce gets laid off. Number 2, owning and maintaining a Tesla is far cheaper than any other gas car I've ever owned. In fact, it kind of makes gas cars feel like money pits. And number 3, the fact that Tesla actually gives a crap about this 6-year-old car and me more so than pretty much any other dealer I've been to is a breath of fresh air. If you're thinking about buying a Tesla, this is your sign to do it, because the service experience has been way better than anything I've ever had done. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, leave a like down below and let me know. If you have any questions about my experience, comment down below. And if you want to hear more from me, hit that red subscribe button and bell notification icon next to it so you can always be in the know when I upload new videos. And as always, see you in the next one.